Hello VC, I'm back again, and this time it's with a little bit of not a new finds. It's vinyl, yes, um, but it's a little bit different. What I'm going to do this time is talk about cover mount EPs. Now, back in the 80s, there used to be three British music papers. There was NME, Melody Maker, and Sounds, and they were all in a ratings battle. And so part of the way that they tried to get people to buy the various papers was to put records on the front. Now, this happened before the late 80s, quite often, I think. They used to put like free gifts on the front, but during the late 80s, it seemed to happen a bit more often. And I've got a fair amount of these things. Sounds ran a series of EPs, and they used to put out pretty regularly. They put out sets of three EPs, one each week on each on the front of their paper, and I have a fair few of them. So I thought I'd just run through the Sounds ones that I've got here, and then I'm going to do a part two where I get all the others out and go through what's on them and show them, and there's some nice stuff on here. So, the first series was Sounds Showcase, and these were, I think, 1987, so sometime in 87 I think these were put out. So volume 1, here we go, volume 1, there we go, Sounds Showcase volume 1. This is probably one of the strongest, to be honest. So you've got an alternative version of the Cult Outlaw. You've got a version of the original version of Hey Luciani by The Fool, which I absolutely think is brilliant. You've got the Adult Net, which was Brooke Smith, who was Mark E. Smith's other half at the time, and who's now some awful TV personality. Her band, the Adult Net, and then you've got the Go-Betweens as well. This was a stellar first one. I mean, the Go-Betweens track I'm not a massive fan of, to be honest. But Spin This Web is a brilliant song, and I got their album. Outlaw was a different version, and this was the only place you could get this for years and years. Now it's been released on CD and stuff. And Hey Luciani is just brilliant. So what a start. There we go. Sounds Showcase Volume 1. Volume 2 was more definitely on the indie side of things. So you've got Shop Assistants doing their version of A Train from Kansas City, which is a brilliant, brilliant song. And then you've got the Wooden Tops doing a live version of Love Train, which was good. Mighty Lemon Drops doing Hear My Call. I love the Lemon Drops. I thought they were a great band. They never got anywhere though. They should have been bigger. And the Icicle Works, another great band, going through a commercial downturn here. Don't Let It Rain on My Parade. Another four great tracks. Really great stuff. And then Volume 3 had a remix of Serpent's Kiss by The Mission. Now, The Mission were one of my favourite bands in the late 80s. Absolutely fantastic to get this. I think I got this before I actually got anything else by them. Possibly. Not sure. Then they got a band called Gangway, who I don't remember at all. And then The Leather Nun with Jesus Came Driving Along. I'm not particularly a great fan of either of those tracks. There's three bands. But it was nice to have Serpent's Kiss on something. Then the next set of three was Sounds Waves. And there's my set of three Sounds Waves. Right. So these three were kind of more themed. You've got a metal one. Definitely a metal one. So here's the metal one. You have got Killed by Death by Motorhead, which is a great live version. You've got Creator doing After the Attack, which is okay. You've got Live to Rock by the Stupids, who are a brilliant skate core band. Absolutely brilliant. And then you've got Celtic Frost with Visual Aggression. That was the first time I'd ever heard Celtic Frost. So some great bands on there. Absolutely brilliant. Volume 2 of Soundswaves was even better, possibly. You've got a live version of 9 Million Rainy Days, one of the best Mary Chain tracks, originally off the Darklands album. And that, this is a live version. You've got Faith No More, New Improved Song, which is off their Introduce Yourself album, with the original lead singer Chuck. You've also got Head of David, I Am Roadkill, Rokotansky versus Schwarzenegger mix, or I'm not sure what that is. And then, first time I'd heard this lot, The Godfathers with It's So Hard. The Godfathers were a really brilliant, hard rocking, kind of almost like a really hard version of Dr. Feelgood, sort of around in the late 80s. There's various bands. Volume 3 was out and out indie. So you've got, and this is, to think of these bands being on a free record. So you've got Sugar Cubes doing Remoter Crash, which is off Life's Too Good, and that's a brilliant album. You've got Pixies doing 2 tracks. I'm not sure where these are from. I'm not sure whether these are from a single or whether they were specifically for this. Got Down to the Well and Rock of My Soul. You got a live version of the Wedding Present doing Go Out and Get 'Em Boy, which is brilliant. And then you got the Pogues doing a live version of Kitty. What a brilliant record! Just on the front of a music paper. Now, the next 3. This is Sonic Sounds. And the first one of this, I think these were a little bit later. This might have been, no, still 87. So they put out 9 free EPs in 1 year. I'm pretty sure. Yep, 9 in 1 year. Right, this one. So you've got Crazy Head doing Down, and Pop Will Eat Itself doing Grebo Guru. Now this is Grebo, prime Grebo this, and Grebo Guru is the original version, which is just guitars. It's not the Box Frenzy version, which is kind of hip hoppy. It's just it's when they were still true Grebos, well, true guitar Grebos rather than hip hop Grebos instead. Then on the B side you got a couple of not so good tracks. You've got the Jack Rubies doing Vegas Throat Stomp and the Georgia Satellites doing The Myth of Love. But I played the first side of this over and over again, because the version of Down is a different version to the album version that's on Desert Orchid, so that's really cool. Then you've got Sonic Sounds Volume 2. There we go. And on this one, you've got the Band of Holy Joy, Route to Love, which is kind of forgettable. Then you've got Soup Dragons doing Rosewood Sky, back when they were sort of still in their C86 phase. They're verging into their psych phase. Then you've also got Voice of the Beehive, What You Have Is Enough, which was great track. Voice of the Beehive were a fantastic late 80s indie band. Actually made it into the charts. And then you got the Primitives with the version of Nothing Left. And the Primitives were a fantastic band as well. Top notch. And then possibly Volume 3 has probably my favourite track on one of these things. So you've got, side A, you've got Head with the Cars Outside, which is, you've got Happy Mondays Moving In With, which was way before their peak. I mean, before Baggy. This is really early for the Mondays. Then you've got, on the B-side, you've got the Triffids from Australia doing Everything You Touch Turns to Time. And it is a psych classic. I think it's on a reissue of Calenture or something. But it is an amazing song. And it's just a brilliant song. Brilliant. And then you've got Stump, who were on C86. Absolutely, completely hat stand. They were. Just love them. I've got to get more Stump vinyl, because I just think they were a fantastic band. And then you've got, and there's, so there's the back of that one. So, Triffids. Oh, everything you touch turns to time. It's so good. Right, moving into, I think this lot of 1988. So then it came Sounds Blasts. And I think these were 1988, these ones. So more great stuff on here with some absolutely amazing tracks. Right, you've got, right. Starts off with Iggy Pop doing Cold Metal off of, oh, what the name of the album? It's his late 80s, 1987 album. And I can't remember the name of it. Is it? Oh, Instinct is on the back here. I don't even need to remember. There we go. Which is a great album. And Fishbone with Love and Bullshit, which is not so great. You've got Dan Reed Network doing some more sort of that funky metal stuff that Fishbone does, and then you've got the Blue Aeroplanes doing Bury Your Love Like Treasure, and that's a good song. That is a good song. Possibly the greatest overall of these is Sounds Blast EP2. Now this was absolutely magnificent. It's got, now this was the first time I think I'd heard Sonic Youth, Daydream Nation era Sonic Youth. It's got a version of Silver Rocket on here, and that made me want to go out and buy Daydream Nation, or rather at least get it. Then you've got Prong, who were a late 80s kind of heavy indie sort of guitar trio, did a fantastic cover of Third from the Sun by Chrome, and I've got that on a 12-inch, and that's amazing. They did a lot of really aggressive, they ended up sounding a lot like Killing Joke, but harder and heavier. Then you've got a track by Palehead called Don't Stand in Line. Now Palehead, if I remember rightly, are Al Jorgensen and possibly Trent Reznor as well. Now my memory, who did what collaboration? I know it was that kind of, that I think Jorgensen was from Ministry was involved, and or was it Ian Mackay from Fugazi? I can't remember now, but Don't Stand in Line by Palehead is it's just an epic track. It's just so good. And then you've got a Thin White Rope doing Eunuch. There you go. Which isn't good, but this is worth having for the other three tracks. Absolutely brilliant guitar music. And then Volume 3 was a 5-track EP. So you've got The Perfect Disaster, which is okay. This one's not so good. You've got Mega City 4 doing What We've Got. And then you've got Cerebral Fix doing Eternal Winter, which was kind of more heavy. Killdozer, who I absolutely love, and I don't have enough of their stuff. New Pants and Shirt. And then Pussy Galore, which was John Spencer's band before the Blues Explosion, doing SM57. I like Pussy Galore a lot. So this was, I mean, to get this sort of music, because all you did was read about these bands. Very rarely did you actually have the chance to listen to any of this stuff. So it was brilliant to be able to hear what the kind of stuff that a lot of the music writers were writing about. And then in I don't know when this was, I guess the 5th series of these was the Sounds Machine. There we go, all 3 of those. And this was a bit more varied. I mean, we got more. Oh, this one was really good. You've got Shelter from the Storm by The Mission. You got another Pixies track called Hey, a live version. I think that's off. Isn't that off Doolittle? Then you've got Throwing Muses doing Mania, which is also live. Actually, the Pixies and the Throwing Muses tracks are from their joint tour that they did in 1988. I didn't actually get to see the Pixies till the following year. But apparently they were just legendary shows, those Pixies, Throwing Muses. And then you've got Dinosaur Jr. doing Throwdown. And I think, was that first place? I might have got Freak Scene by then on a 7-inch, but it was one of the first tracks I had by Dinosaur Jr. Sterling stuff. EP2, not so good. You've got Living Colour, Open Letter to a Landlord, which is a good song. Really like their early stuff, Living Colour. And you've got Screaming Blue Messiahs doing Sweetwater Pools, who are best known for I Want to Be a Flintstone, which was kind of a novelty track that got in the charts over here. Then you got Queensryche doing Revolution Calling and Voivod. That's EP2. There's some of the bands. And the final one I'm going to cover here is EP3, Sounds Machine. And you've got Steve Earle doing San Antonio Girl, which is quite good. You've got McCarthy doing Should the Bible Be Banned, which McCarthy were another C86 band, and they were still knocking around. Incendiary stuff, really. Then you've got A House, which I think... Did McCarthy morph into A House, or were they just around at the same time? I can't remember now. But you've got Watch Out You're Dead by A House. And then, bizarrely, the last track, obviously because the record company wanted to try and shift some albums, you've got Hot House Flower Saved. So this one's a bit disjointed. A lot of them are kind of more cohesive, but this one's a bit disjointed. So there we go. My collection of Sounds EPs from 87, 88, about then. But what a way to find out about new music and expose yourself to new music. Absolutely fantastic. So there we go. Part 2 will follow, which is couple more Sounds records, and then stuff off Melody Maker and NME as well. So I hope that I did this video. I can't remember who showed someone. I don't know whether it was John Downing or whether somebody else showed one or two of these before. But I thought, I've actually got loads of these, and why not show them? So there we go. I'm sure you're all interested. Right, so thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all again with part 2 very, very soon. Cheers, VC. Bye.